right, welcome back. My name's Adrian.
My name is Aaron.
This is 2teachone.
2teachone.
And, well...
Yeah, it's just us.
It's just us. Again, we've been left to our own devices. Not necessarily advisable.
And not always a good thing, right? You know? I mean, it's kind of like when we're stuck in our own heads.
Yeah, you don't want to be walking down my, walking around in my head, man. It's a bad neighborhood.
Yeah, what was it one of our friends posted on Facebook? There's a bunch of train conductors yelling into Vietnamese, and he doesn't speak Vietnamese.
No, that was a post I put up about anxiety, and that was his response.
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, his response, he just kind of added to whatever they said about anxiety and what it's like. It started out horribly, and he just, took it up a notch.
Yeah, just added that
unnecessarily, but that was his truth, man. He just kind of let us know what was going on as far as he goes.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting too, because people who've mastered their anxiety, you can't see it. But what I found is the thoughts don't change, right? So that's still going on in the head. It's your reaction to it that changes,
Right.
Yeah.
So, last time, episode 9, we were talking about women and men in the gym.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
We had Bridget and Doris in the studio. It was a lot of fun, very insightful.
Yeah, thank you.
I made a post about this the other day about how it's actually affected the way I conduct myself in the gym. I'm a lot more mindful.
Me too, yeah.
Now than I was, before that. So, thanks again to Bridget. Mm-hmm. Thanks to everyone who listened.
Yeah, we had some really great responses.
Absolutely. We had some people, who responded on Facebook. There was some discussion going on about that podcast. If you didn't get to listen, you can catch up on www.2teachone.com. That's 2teach1.com.
2teachone.
If you would like to find us on Facebook or Instagram, you can find us there at TWOTEACHONE. And wherever you listen to podcasts, most of you are listening on Apple Podcasts. But wherever you listen, you can find us. Just type in the number 2 TEACHONE, and that spells 2teachone.
2teachone.
Right. So
what's up this week? What are we doing?
Well, this week, I don't know. I just thought we'd have a little discussion about, where we're at this point. How much more springtime do we have? A little bit.
Like, technically summer doesn't begin until the end of June.
Until the end of June, right? So we have a little bit of time. We're still pretty much, in the early stages of spring.
Spring is springing.
Spring fever, all that kind of, that kind of thing.
Yeah, spring fever, right? Yeah, you can see it, right?
Yeah, I mean, things change. The weather's getting better.
And then worse, and then better again.
Yeah.
I love Colorado, right?
That's true.
It was amazing. It was 70 degrees one day, and within 24 hours, there were, big old hefty snowflakes coming down, and they didn't actually stick, but there were still, like, some pretty serious snowflakes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I love
Just because it's made doesn't mean we're safe. This is Colorado, man.
It was so funny. When I first got to Colorado, I was like in a Target, and I'm asking a buddy of mine, I'm like, so when does winter start? And it was late summer. And he's like, and this other guy just chimed in who just happened to overhear. And he's like, you never know, man. It could start at the end of August, or it could start in December. Like, you don't know, right?
Yeah, especially with this global warming thing, man. Because, I mean, if you think about it, last 3 years, we've basically had, like, the mildest winters, right?
Sure,
This is the realest, the most recognizable winter, for me.
Oh, yeah. Since what, 2016? Maybe? I know when I first got here at the end of 2014.
Right.
Man, I loved it because I had never seen snow like that. And it was like a real snowstorm. I actually got to shovel snow, and it was so funny because my buddy that I was living with at the time, I was like, oh man, can I go shovel the snow? And he's like, sure. Yeah, if you want to. I was like, yeah, let me get all my stuff on.
That's funny.
I was like super excited to put on my snow gear. Yeah.
Oh man.
That was so funny. And I would walk around in my snow gear all the time. And what I didn't know, I thought, okay, so it's Colorado, right? It's cold. It's snowy. you can just walk into stores with your ski mask on. That's not true. Just because it's Colorado, people still like it when you take off the ski mask when you enter an establishment.
Yeah, I don't know if you also forgot this, but you're a brown guy, okay?
Which you couldn't tell with all the layers.
With all the layers on?
Yeah,
I mean, dude, what did you have on? Like a ninja mask or something? Like complete? You have to be able to see some of your skin.
Well, that's maybe around the eyes. You probably could tell.
Yeah. Oh, wait, you had a ski mask just with the eye cutouts? Dude.
Yeah.
You're bugging out, man. You better take that thing off.
Oh, I know. Well, and it was funny because I'm walking around. His wife worked at King Soopers, and I drove her up there, and he was with me, and I'm just wandering around the aisles of King Soopers with my ski mask on.
Dude.
And he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey man, you got to take that off. You're making people uncomfortable." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I thought it was Colorado, you know." I mean,
oh, dude, that is.
But it was hilarious because I had on, 3 layers of clothing, and I was gung ho about the snow at first. Now you get to be a little bit nonchalant after you've experienced it a little bit. I mean, I'm still packing some heat when it comes to snowfall, and I still enjoy putting on that stuff because it's still relatively new, but not like I did it first.
I definitely enjoy having seasons. I think, it's not like I'd really mind not, being subjected to the kind of cold that we experience from time to time, but I like it.
Yeah,
I love the springtime. Like right now, all the the flowers and things are starting to bloom.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice. Of course, when
things are blooming. That's right.
Things are blooming in many ways, but so the flowers. So I'm enjoying that, seeing them bloom, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there's people that are suffering just horribly because that means allergies.
Yeah. I know that's one of the great things about being a transplant. I don't know if my system just isn't adapted or whatever, but I had horrible allergies for years in Texas. I mean, just suffered. And now not anymore. And you know what's interesting is part of it, and it comes back to health and wellness. This is what I think happens now. I think you get allergies and everybody's like, "Oh, I got to take an antihistamine. I got to take something for it to block it." What I've found, and even back in Texas, it started getting better. If I allow my body to experience that one day of kind of agony,
yes,
right? After that, it like adjusts, right? Because what that reaction is just your body's, your immune system combating the pollen and stuff. Mm-hmm. So you just let it do it. And then once it's kind of over, it wasn't as bad. But when I would continually take medication to block that reaction, I always had horrible allergies. And here in Colorado, knock on wood or whatever else you got, I have not had or suffered very many of those horrible days. I mean, there were whole days occasionally in Texas where I was just like, I'm out. I've had a couple here, like when I'm in the wind, and stuff, but not very many.
Yeah.
But what is nice about the spring?
Right.
Well, everybody is dressed in a much more free manner.
Yeah, I think what Aaron's trying to get at, and I've definitely taken notice, is, let's just say sex is in the air.
Love is in the air.
No, not just love is in the air. Well, let's face it. When you boil it down.
Yeah, when he was singing that, he was saying sex. Right?
Basically.
People just couldn't say that back then. Like now rap is a little more free, and not just rap, but songs in general. Right? You can just say, "Yeah, baby."
Yeah, so I was thinking about this, right? So, So some people were keeping up their appearance, but we're coming out of the hibernation stage, right? Which means people get a little bit more, they've bulked up a bit and that kind of thing, right? And not necessarily muscle, right? You've put on some fat because that's, genetically our body's like, okay, cool. It's time to hunker down, right? So, so here's the thing. Now, because we recognize that, we're always influenced by, sex and our reproductive,
It's the strongest instinct we have,
our reproductive instinct, right? So I was thinking about this. I was like, so the fact that now, okay, the layers are coming off, right?
Right.
Men are wearing, a little bit less, women are wearing a little bit less.
Hallelujah.
So is there something about like having a little bit more on you, right? That actually like makes you seem more prepared for, to have like, to make babies and stuff. I mean, I don't even know if this is a thing, but it caught my attention the other day.
You mean like
Like,
thicker?
Yeah. Like, is there a correlation between that and fertility? Like, or just like an innate sense of like somewhere on some level you're looking and you're thinking, they're ready.
Yeah. Well, for men, it's about, I watched this really cool special on Discovery years ago, and they had these cardboard cutouts, and they had this ratio of hip to waist. And there's a perfect ratio that 9 out of 10 men will always pick that ratio, even if it's a larger woman. It's the ratio that is also the most conducive to childbirth for a woman. So, and it's funny because I tell myself this all the time because it's a way of kind of keeping track that when I look at a woman and I'm like, oh, she is amazingly good looking. What that means is my brain has taken a look at her and decided that if we had kids, they would be healthy
kids,
like that's babies. What that is. But my brain doesn't like say that. It goes, she is hot, and it just boils it down to that.
Right. That's how it communicates to you.
It's like, you need to go talk to her immediately.
Right.
While you're there, if you could suck in your stomach and drop your voice a couple octaves and, you know what I mean? Like, for real, like men do that because you want to present yourself as a viable partner to them. But, it's funny, we're talking about the thickness. I know several women who aren't necessarily concerned, like, and everybody's different, right? But these women that I'm talking about, they don't mind if a man is a little bit thicker in the middle, right? As long as he has
big arms.
Like they're into and there's something about that, right? That says, I can protect you, provide for you, something like that. It's the same thing, like they showed women this picture, same man in 2 different cars, right? And one of the cars is a very nice car, and one of the cars is a not so nice car. And, they didn't ask the women, did they want to date this guy? They just asked him, what's his attractiveness? And the guy in the car, the nice car was rated as more attractive, even though it's the same man. And this isn't to say that women are shallow, but it's this sense of, I can provide for the children. Right? That's what it is. Because when a man, isn't concerned with that, usually, and this is all stereotypical, basic cavewoman stuff, but a man isn't really concerned about that because he's like, I will go out and kill the deer, right? And protect you from the jaguar. I need you to be able to produce healthy offspring, right? So that's what we're looking at. Looks, right? That visual. She has shiny hair, nice teeth, she's going to make healthy babies, but a woman has to account for biologically, okay, so I'm going to have the kid, so who's going to like feed us while I'm taking care of this, newborn? So she's got to look at, can this dude go tackle a jaguar,
Yeah, I hope, just let me just put that out right now. I'm not tackling any jaguars, man.
No, we don't have to anymore. That's what's great, yeah. That's why women are attracted to smart men, right? Because a smart man, he can figure out how he can make a bow and arrow, So it's not just cut and dry as far as big guys, provider, that kind of thing.
Right.
That's why you see women with all different kinds of men, and each of those men usually is, when it's a certain type of people that are excelling at something. Right. So you're very intelligent. You're very funny. So if you're very funny, you can be good in social situations. So you'll be good at trading with your neighbors. So you'll be able to provide for the family.
Right.
And it's interesting that now we have all these, basically caveman instincts, and we don't operate that way. Like we have morals and values, and we look for other things in mates, but we're still basically operating in the springtime, right? It's ready to rut. It's time to make new people.
Yeah, it's definitely rutting season. I'm not like 100% certain about this, but I've definitely, I don't know if there's anything that's changed about me, but man, I've been getting some looks, man.
Me too.
I don't know if it's just the weather's changed or I don't know.
Well, you're looking good over there. Well, and it's funny talking about that, because we have the weight coming in, in the winter. And that's what I was talking about with a buddy of mine earlier was, because I was all concerned about losing weight in the winter. He was like, no, you're like a chipmunk. Don't worry about it. So now we're coming into spring, and I want to attract a mate, and just let it be known, ladies.
Wait, let's
I
go
don't
back.
have one.
Let's go back. You can't just, go right past you're like a chipmunk. What does that even mean?
Well, no, good question. So, we think of ourselves as different from animals, but we are an animal. So in the winter, our brain is not concerned with losing fat. In fact, quite the opposite. your brain is concerned with putting on fat so that you can survive the winter, so you can be warmer. And that's just the role that it's playing. So when you work against that and try to get skinny in the winter, I mean, unless you live in a warmer climate, where your brain can sense that, it's not going to work. Or it can work, but it's just much more difficult.
Right.
And then as you come into spring, it's like the natural flow of things. Like, we're from the earth, we're part of it. Everything's in bloom, and it becomes much easier for us to lose weight. And so that's where I'm at.
Right.
And, I know we've talked about it a little bit, but I just started, and I've been doing a lot of, internet research, but I started the intermittent fasting. So I had gone with caloric intake reduction.
Okay.
That had been my first step. And then, that was working, and I still think it would have worked, but I think there's not just weight loss benefits to fasting, but there appears to be a whole host of benefits to fasting, even going into 1 or 2 day fast, which, I've never done that. I've never just done a water fast for longer than 12 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. I found they talk about cognitive benefits. There's all kinds of different things. I mean, for me, it's just, I found it to be something that is sustainable.
Right.
Once I got past the initial 2-week, hell situation, getting off the processed sugars and stuff.
Yeah.
Then, I found myself much more capable of, really following and, following my my new way of eating, right? Yeah. Not my new. I just went back to how I used to eat. And I've always eaten reasonably healthy. It's just like from time to time, man.
Well, it becomes a coping mechanism.
Ice cream takes over, man.
Yeah. Well, and then, we both used to have a particular substance in our life that we turned to when we needed to, just dive into the sensory experience.
Right. The instant gratification, right?
Yes. And we no longer have that. And so it's funny because I still, and I hate to admit this, but I occasionally will step out and have a cigarette. Right? I can go run like 10, 12 miles. And something in my brain, if something is feeling a little wonky, that's where I run to, And, and for you, it's like ice cream. I can't personally have ice cream, but it's not sweets for me. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not a huge thing. And I wonder why that is. I wonder if, like, your taste buds are better than mine. I always wonder, like, what really causes one person's, thing, right? But, mine's cigarettes. Yours is ice cream.
That's my out, man. It's the only thing that.
Yeah, something's got to give, and that's it.
It's definitely my guilty, unhealthy, pleasure.
Sure, but
especially since I overdo it.
Yeah.
I don't think we're just supposed to be mowing down half gallons of ice cream, like a couple times a week.
Probably not. No. Yeah, but I'm sure it tastes good. It probably tastes better than a cigarette. I guarantee you that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They taste like ashtrays. That's the one thing, like, when you don't, like...
I don't get it, man. Like,
I don't either. I don't know why my brain, even does that. I don't know.
Who knows, man?
Yeah, because I know it's going to taste like an ashtray, and about halfway through one, I'm like, yeah, this is stupid. And, then I'm good for a minute.
True.
But let there come some stress or, stuff like that, and I'm back at it. But anyway, so I'm doing this fasting thing, and I've decided this is what I'm going to do, and there's all kinds of nutritional benefits. I thought for a long time you couldn't gain muscle while you're fasting. Not true. And I found, like you said, it's a little bit easier than counting calories or even macronutrients as long as you eat reasonably healthy within the window that you can eat. Like, it doesn't mean you can just eat ho-hos and ice cream, but eat reasonably healthy. I don't have to be like, oh my God, I can't have any pasta. No, I can have pasta.
Right.
Just have a reasonable amount.
Right.
Plus your stomach shrinks a little bit. You don't get quite as hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm at. And I know, you're doing the same thing. And so I know over the next few weeks, we're going to keep updating our listeners on that in case you have any questions. You're out there. Everyone is sort of concerned most of the time about what should I eat and how should I go about eating it. And so we're going to be able to provide just some firsthand experiences from our journey through intermittent fasting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely looking to embark on a journey of sorts here. I mean, for personal reasons, but I figured, if I can show everyone else that I'm taking these steps, maybe I can inspire someone else to do the same for themselves. So basically what I'm going to do is, this upcoming week, I'm going to have an assessment done. So they're going to take my body fat, my weight,
Okay.
they're going to check out my body composition, right? And I'm going to keep doing that once a month.
Okay, cool.
Along with that, Aaron's going to be taking some footage.
Yes.
He's going to be, recording, documenting,
Journaling, as you will.
journaling, a journaling of sorts.
Yes.
He's going to take some pictures or some video,
Right,
that
yeah.
in the end we'll be able to, see what the transformation
Yeah, it's
is
going to
like.
be really cool.
Yeah, so, I'm pretty excited about that. But, first things first, I have to actually start doing these things. I've been eating better, which was my first thing.
Right.
Cause I think I've always been able to get to the gym consistently. The food part of it was that's what was suffering the most. So I decided to address that first. And I think I'm at a point where I can definitely, commit even more than I have. So I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to work out regularly as I do. I'm going to do all kinds of different things. I'm going to document all this stuff. So, on my personal, Instagram and Facebook, also the 2teachone on Facebook and Instagram, I'm going to be updating those. So you should be able to see, the journey, taking place there.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And I know also, 2teachone as a group, we're going to be doing a lot more fun stuff this summer and documenting it. We're still getting the kinks ironed out. We've got some video things that are going to be coming out on the website. We have a lot of stuff in the works that we're just, we've found that getting this part of the project off the ground was a little more work than we anticipated.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But, it's been a great journey. We've learned so much, now that we're able to talk to other people that also want to embark on this journey. But
yeah. Yeah. And, I think that's a good point to bring up. If anyone wants to get into podcasting or you have some questions, feel free to go to our website at www.2teachone.com. That's 2teachone.com. You can send us an email through there. Just, shoot us, tell us give us your story.
Yeah, because we've learned a lot.
Yeah, we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot, and we can definitely help out if that's something you want to do, and if you want to, especially if you want to do something in the health and wellness, in that space. If you want to teach people something, we can kind of help you figure that out. So that's that. But along those lines, what's up with the marathon, man? What's the progress?
So there's been a bit of a setback. Still planning on doing the half marathon. But week before last, when I was out running on a Tuesday, this is one of those things about getting older. I was doing slaloms. Well, and what I would do is...
What?
Well, okay, so, in skiing, the slalom, you go back and forth through the gates, right?
Uh-huh.
I think that's what it is. I've never actually been skiing, which...
So what did you do? You set up some cones on the sidewalk or what?
Well, no, you know how they have the parking meters? I was doing a little urban obstacle course. I ran up and down the Millennial Bridge, which if you've never been to it in Denver, is a bridge that crosses nothing. But is I'm not really sure. It looks like a ship, and it's like this landmark, but you go to it and you go to the top and you're like, okay, cool.
Is that the one that goes from from downtown across to Lohi and stuff?
I don't know that it just crosses one street. It's not even a real bridge. Literally the span of it is, I don't know, 50 feet. And it has but it has a really tall staircase. And then you walk across and then you walk down, and it's right after the park near the river downtown. It's right near Union Station. If you come out the back of Union Station.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you go from basically, so behind you is 16th Street.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, ahead of you, you're going across to
the park.
Across the park, but it's headed towards Lohi and stuff. Oh, maybe there's okay. You know what? I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Right. The park that us guys run through.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Got you. The one I'm talking about, there's something else that's similar.
Oh,
but
okay.
it's somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean,
it also crosses the
Oh, I never been to that one.
No, that one, the one I'm talking about, I think crosses over the highway or the river. One of the two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, I'm not really sure. It's like a landmark of some kind, but I'm not really sure what its purpose is, but it's neat to run up and down. You get a good thing. So, I did that and I come out and I'm like slaloming through the streets and I'm feeling like like a sleek, like I used to be able to do that, no problem, right? So I do that and, there's a lot of starting and stopping and, left and right and, I was getting after it. And right after that, something was wrong with my right knee. And of course, because I am a fountain, right, of wisdom, if you will, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to keep on running because I can't be stopped by silly things like knees. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, and I tell this to myself, I'm not telling it to you. Like, if something hurts, just stop. This is like the third or fourth time that I've completely injured myself, and I look back on it, I'm like, if I had just walked home from that point, how much better would I feel today? And so it's been a couple weeks, and it has not come back to full strength. I tried to run on it last week, because it felt good when I left to go run. By the time I did 1/10 of a mile, I was like, nah.
No.
Yeah, so it's kind of rough.
Okay, so what are you gonna do now?
So rest.
So when's the marathon?
Well, so today is the 4th. The marathon is the 19th. So
a couple weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So I'm hoping I'm not going to run tomorrow. Or I'm just going to take it easy. And I haven't ran in a couple weeks. But the good news is once you get to that level of kind of running, it's not like you're going to lose it in a week or so. And I've been hitting the stationary bike, right? Because it's a lot easier on the knees. So I'm hoping that at some point this week, it's getting better every day.
Okay.
But I don't want to chance it. I don't want to run tomorrow.
Right.
So I'm hoping that I can at least get one long run in next weekend. So Sunday after tomorrow, before the race. And, just tough it out. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. I've done that distance several times now. So.
No, you should be good, man.
Yeah.
You're well conditioned.
Yeah.
So we've talked about all these things, and, today is going to be a rather short.
Yeah, we're not going to,
episode. So here's the, let's finish on this. We've talked about a whole bunch of healthy topics. Mm-hmm. But there's also some unhealthy things that are going on.
Oh, no.
I've gotten a few calls. Not just me. Actually, I thought it was just me, but, I've gotten a few calls. I've gotten a couple calls myself.
That wasn't me.
One of our, the white shark. Jacob has also, gotten a call or two. Springtime happens to be a great time, but it's also really, really, because of all the social, changes that are taking place, right? There's a lot, the activities have started, people going out, spending time. Mm-hmm. Today's the today, with the day we're recording, is the Kentucky Derby, right? There's people out there in their fancy hats, with their mint juleps, that kind of thing. I mean, you see that and you're just thinking, oh, wow. Yeah. These people are having a ball, right? But for some people, it's tough. Really, right now it's like a minefield.
Yeah. I remember that.
It's like navigating a minefield. And I absolutely can relate, So, a lot of people have relapsed, people that are in recovery.
Right.
People are in danger of relapsing, at any given point.
Yeah, you got to stay on top of it.
It's not a seasonal thing. Mm-hmm. But there's definitely times of year when it gets a little bit interesting.
Well, and I think it's so interesting because I remember, when I started in our position, and you have several more years experience than me, and you saying that to the gentleman that we work with, and in the space of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That was probably the roughest that I have had since working there, were those weeks after that. And that was last year. Fortunately.
Was it last year?
It was last year. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. There was a couple guys at the same night one time, and, having to be like, hey, we got to talk.
Yeah.
And it's tough.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just to see that these guys doing well. And it's so funny because, I don't know exactly why, except that my life is much fuller than it used to be. But that used to always get me. Like seeing people out, enjoying themselves, having fun. Mm-hmm. And I know that's why the book that we both know really well says, the delusion that we will someday drink like normal people has to be smashed. Because as long as you hold on to that in the least bit, like I'm missing out right? Fear of missing out. As long as,
Dude.
look at those people, like, I could be doing that. Like, used to have so much fun. If you think that way, I feel that eventually you will go back to that.
Yeah, I mean, so that's one thing I can say for certain that I don't think, right, that I'm missing out on anything.
No.
Because if you play the tape through, right? So, okay, so I have this thing, like, right, currently, one of the ways I, kind of, relax and, turn off the professional switch is by watching, Netflix, right? And right now I'm watching Scandal.
Oh, yeah.
And Scandal, I mean, every other scene in the White House, they're pouring up a drink, especially right now, like the part I'm at, the president's drinking a lot.
Oh no.
He's just been through some things. I mean, this dude's got scotch glasses in the shower.
Oh wow.
Been there, done
yeah,
that.
Right. That
have the t-shirt. And I wasn't. I was doing it because sure,
you gotta get ready.
I had to be ready, man. And so, just washing the stink as I, introduce some more stink into my system.
Those were the days, man.
Oh my goodness! But so that's the thing. I'm able to play the tape forward, right? And,
exactly.
And it's interesting because it doesn't take long. Like I see the person, pouring that drink in the show, right? Out of this nice, Baccarat crystal.
Oh sure. Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing is just this. It's so sexy.
Oh yeah.
And all this, right? And then I play this tape like, an hour ahead or 3.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, there's so much darkness and despair.
Well, I always think of, there was this vodka commercial years ago, and it's these 4 dudes dressed in suits, right? And they go into this club and they proceed, it makes it look like they proceed to finish off a bottle of vodka, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they're coming out of the club, right? After just getting hammered on vodka.
Yeah.
And there's this lady coming out, and they turn into like perfect gentlemen. They're even more gentlemanly when they leave the club than they were going in. And I'm like, in what world is this true? Because this is a very attractive woman. I'm just telling you, 4 men sit around and polish off a bottle of vodka and then see a really attractive woman walking out the door. It's that one of them is going to say something stupid. It's a foregone conclusion. I'm not saying all of them, but one of them are gonna be like, "Hey, what's that?"
One of them has to just muck up the waters, man.
Yeah, sure. And it's just so funny because they never play the tape forward on TV.
No. Well, so here's the thing, right? And the reason why marketing is working so well for those products, like specifically alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Because I think we've talked about this before. Everything else is just as valid, right? Everyone has, the problem is equally as bad across the board, whether you're using heroin, alcohol,
right.
Whatever your poison is, right? Mm-hmm. People are suffering.
Yes.
Right. Now, the difference is, and I remember I've talked about this before, a friend that's a heroin addict, right, was like, listen, I don't know how you alcoholics do it, right? Because you go to the restaurant, and someone's offering you some of your drug there.
Right.
When I go to the restaurant, unless I decide to go into the alleyway or something, that's
sure.
There's no situation where someone's going to offer me,
some heroin?
Like a hit of that, some China White. Okay. Right. It's just not something that's, bound to happen. Right.
That's true.
So that social component it's so dangerous. And that's why that drug is the most powerful, if you ask me, because it's so readily available, so socially accepted, and I mean, they paint this picture, right? I mean, think about it like this, we just drove by the Four Seasons, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's out there in their colorful, jackets. I mean, people are looking beautiful, right? Yeah. They look like they're having such a great time. And to someone that's not in our shoes, someone that doesn't have, is not happy.
Yes.
Doesn't have a full life.
Oh, man.
They'll look at that and they'll be like, you know what? I want to experience that for, a minute or two. You know what I'm saying? Which will, end up,
what's so interesting? It's so interesting that you say that. Exactly. It ends in detox. It ends for me in the hospital. You almost died again. Fantastic. But even going to the hospital the first time when they were like, yeah, you almost died. And I'm like, cool. So when, but, one of the people that I know they say to me today, and I thought it was just such a pertinent question. They weren't having a great day. Things aren't going great for them. And they're like, why does my brain tell me that if I go get a bottle, everything will be okay? But the things that I know will actually make me okay.
Right.
My brain's like, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that.
Because the other things aren't as they're not as easy.
Yeah, well, exactly. They're not as easy. I think for us, we've spent some time building up different reactions in our brain.
Yeah.
And when you're new, that's why I think that can take people out, especially in early sobriety, because they see that and their brain starts thinking, remember that time? That was so much fun. This stuff you're doing right now, this is hard because you're actually building new neural pathways.
Absolutely.
And that takes time.
Exactly.
And effort. Mm-hmm. And it can be so much easier. And it's a shame because I'm not there now.
Right.
And so I would never look down on anyone who actually fell down because as a drunk, I know that drinking is what drunks do. Right?
better than anything else.
That's what we do. So if one of my brothers or sisters falls, we're there. Like that's what we do. But it is, and we have to stay aware because we see it so much. And so it's not like when we talk about this stuff, and I say this a lot to the gentleman that I work with, the only reason we are qualified to talk about this is because we experienced the exact same thing.
Oh yeah, right? No doubt, man. Yeah, it's a very interesting, time, because I've heard some stories of some people that are going through it right now. Mm-hmm. And so I think I just draw parallels, right? So this is how I look at it. The experience of going out and drinking and having fun and when I say this to an extreme, I mean like if you go out and your intention, yes, is to be social, right? But you end up getting drunk every time. Yeah. Let's face it. Your intention is to get drunk every time also.
Oh, sure.
Okay. So I just don't see like, cause as guys where we live, we get to watch like all this play out, just outside of our door.
I know. It's interesting where we live.
I always think about this, right? I'm looking across at that establishment, right?
Yeah. There's a
distillery, a craft distillery, and a brewery across the street from each other. And one street over is Lodo, all the bars and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I look over there and I'm like, what's changed? What's changed about, like, if I went into that bar, right? Bam. It's the same-ish happening that was happening whenever, right?
Yeah, same
it's
thing.
Crowded. It smells bad.
Yeah.
There's just, you can't even have a decent conversation. Yeah. Same. It's just, I don't find it. And, to each their own. I mean, I'm not, trying to tell people that, they're lesser or I'm better than them because I don't go and do those things, right? I've just chosen something different.
Things have changed.
So I just don't get what, back then for a little bit and not even for very long, that was like really appealing, right?
Oh, sure.
But then it got to a point where I even wanted to move from that experience where it's just loud, too many people, too squashed, and I started doing the lounge thing,
Yeah.
And that was much more palatable because, it's nice, some mood lighting.
Yeah.
There's like couches, it's comfortable, and you can hear what someone else is saying.
Well, for me, I can get much more hammered in the lounge and nobody noticed because you're supposed to be sitting and relaxing.
Exactly.
And I didn't get thrown out because I'm trying to stumbling around the dance floor like an idiot.
That's so funny. That's a good point too.
In the lounge, you can just kind of sit there and be like, hey, bring me another.
Right, exactly.
I'm good.
That's a very good point. So, I mean, I wasn't really thinking about that. But so here's the thing, like there's nothing that has changed about that experience, right? For me. And I found different ways, to live. Like I like doing this, like this whole, what we're doing now.
Yeah.
If I was still living that life, if that was like my thing, my life would be very uninteresting. Like there would be, it's like, oh, cool. I'm back on Instagram showing people like,
I can drink.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what's interesting too, is because I get the same sense, that experience hasn't changed.
Right.
What's changed is me, and what's changed is you.
Right.
Like I look at that and I'm like, and I don't really look down on them because some of them are young and, go to a club and have fun, right?
Yeah.
But I still wonder, like, what the allure is of, they're standing outside waiting to get into this extremely loud place. And, like, they're not even all in there. You know,
No,
they're not even
no.
drinking currently.
No.
And for me, it was all about, you know, are we going someplace where they serve alcohol? Because if we are, I'm in.
Right.
And if we're not, let's figure out a place that you know, I could go get hammered at Applebee's. You know.
True. True. You can get hammered and then you have a steak.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that was
know?
the best. And then you go to a bar. Anyway, the what's changed is that doesn't seem like fun. And I know a lot of it has to do, at least for me, like you said, our lives are much more interesting than they used to be. Like we have plans and goals and we're doing things. And I think that transition from early sobriety into, okay, now I feel like I can accomplish something. So now I've set goals for myself. Now I'm going to challenge myself in other ways.
Right.
Like, cause I know, you know, with the intermittent fasting and stuff, I'm really trying to hit a pinnacle of health that I've never achieved. Right. And even though I stumble every once in a while and have a cigarette, you know, I know that won't be forever. And you know what, from where I was, if I have, you know, 2 cigarettes a month, if that's where it ends up, okay, I'm going to try to eliminate that. But, and it's like for you, if every once in a while you have a pint of ice cream, so what? Because where we are now from where we are then,
right.
And we're not stopping. So it's not as if we're going to get to some place and be like, well, I have achieved all of my goals and now I shall retire to the ashram. No.
Hashtag no false summits.
No false summits, right? And so we've filled our lives with things that have meaning. We have meaningful relationships that have absolutely nothing to do with drinking. And for these guys, and for me at one point, I could not relate to people when I wasn't drunk, right? That was how I made friends. Now, they weren't real friends, and I eventually had to learn that. But going into a place and being around drunk people and being able to associate and talk with them, that was my family. That was my community.
Right.
And until I established something outside of that, you know, it was always going to draw me back. I would get bored, get lonely. And
yeah.
It was
no,
really
I feel you. I mean, it's definitely, it's a good idea to get involved in other things.
Sure.
You know, never feel like you've reached, the summit, man.
Yeah.
You know, cause when you get somewhere, I always tell these guys, right? And I always feel weird when I say this to them. Cause I think I come off as being just a little bit too, cause I think I always feel like I'm viewed as an authoritarian, kind of figure, this and that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
But
you are.
I mean, I just remind these guys because I feel like someone around you needs to be that person, right? And I'm like, listen, congratulations. You've achieved this. Move on.
Yes. No, you're totally right.
You know, like don't get comfortable, man, because that's when stuff happens.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like, you can't, be comfortable, have a certain level of comfort, that kind of thing.
Sure.
It's just about constantly, challenging yourself. At least for me, that's what it is. And the company you keep is a big, can make a big difference, right? Because, I mean, if it wasn't for example, say it was you and the other guy that, could be running the Phoenix, right?
Sure.
Where would you be right now? What would you be doing?
No, I don't, did I understand the question properly? You're asking me.
So if it wasn't me,
right,
as I am today, working with you, right?
Right.
Where would you be? What would you be doing?
Do I still have the same job?
Yeah, you still have the same job.
I don't know.
What are you doing though?
Oh, no, exactly. Well, and that's why we talk about this, and I'll tell Adrian, how much I appreciate this.
No. I didn't say that so I can have an opportunity.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
I get it. No.
I think that was the closest.
That
was the closest example that I.
But it's not about that, right? Because I know you, right? And I have my good traits, and you have your good traits. And the reason that you run the Phoenix, right? And the reason that people get sober, staying there. The reason, even the guys that don't like you, and I have this conversation more than you know. Like, I think Adrian, I'm like, no, what Adrian wants is for you to be the best version of you. And he's not going to stop at anything less than that. And trust me, you don't see it now, but when you're sober and happy and healthy a year and a half from now, you'll be coming back going, hey, I really appreciate that. And so like with the podcast and with all of this, this is you generated this. Like I definitely play my role, and I'm more than happy to be a part of this. And yeah, it would look different if I wasn't here, but without you starting that, without you being on me from the beginning, because when I started there, I barely had, like 4 months. And without somebody around me constantly going, hey, we need to make this better. How do we do this? And showing me how to think that way. Where now I'm thinking that way. I'm thinking, okay, well, how can we improve? How can we make things better? What can I do in my personal life that's different? Right? Rather than just, vegetate and stagnate. Right? And so a lot of that I learned from you. And that's the way it's supposed to work in recovery, because you don't drink for 20 years and come out of it just being sober and with like some really good ways to live. You just don't. There's just no way to do that.
Right.
I taught myself over several decades how to be lazy and indolent and not really care about stuff. I mean, that's what I did.
Hey,
and
I
then
feel you, man.
and then coming out of that, and I still, it's funny because I have this natural defensiveness, and so when you come to me and you're like, well, we need to improve it. I mean, and my first reaction is still always like, no, I'm great. I don't know what you're talking about. But over time, as time goes on, you learn you can't get any better if you already think you're perfect. Mm-hmm. You just can't. Like, this is how it works. You have to be like, oh, okay, I guess I can improve there. I can improve that. So to answer your question, though, I definitely wouldn't be here, right? I definitely wouldn't be doing the things that I would be doing. I'd be working at the Phoenix. I'd probably be okay. I'd probably still be chasing my ex-girlfriend, ex-fiance. And,
there'd be a lot of lamps.
There'd be a lot of lamps, some pictures of my ex-fiance on the wall, I'd still be trying to like buy a motorcycle. And yeah, cause we've talked about that.
The motorcycle's not a horrible idea.
Well, for me, it's not who I am.
Yeah.
Right. Not that it's a bad thing.
I just don't know where to park it if I buy it.
Exactly. Man. I don't know. I like my little blue sports car. Like that's what I wanted.
It's good. You have to have a car, man. It snows here, man.
Exactly. Well, and I got the one that I wanted, and
right.
I'm super happy. But the thing is, I would be okay. But what we're doing here and the journey that we've embarked on, and all of our listeners, it's hard sometimes to get a sense of the grand vision for what we have and what Adrian has. But there is one out there. Like there's so much more that we want to accomplish. And it's funny because, getting healthy and this transformation thing and all that, that's just another way to build a foundation for what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that false stomach thing, that is not something I believed in. I was like, okay, I've accomplished what I've accomplished. Now leave me alone. Because you can do that. You could work at our job.
Yeah.
We see this happen. You can work at our job.
Oh, yeah.
And get off and sit around and do whatever.
Yes.
And come back to work, and you could totally stagnate there and stay sober.
Just do a loop.
Yeah, but that's not life. That's not how you accomplish things in life.
Man. You gotta have stories, man.
You gotta have goals.
You gotta have goals. You gotta live.
Exactly. Like, I have the goal. I want every human being to be clothed, fed, housed, and educated, right? Now, I have zero idea how to accomplish this yet, but I swear, like, that's the goal.
He has a couple that are scary.
I'm not saying that we have, I'm just saying revolution of the proletariat and seizing the means of production. I'm not saying that's what the goal is necessarily, but you know what I mean. Like,
I feel you. I totally feel you.
Yeah, and I know you do, and I think it's interesting because I do love the system that we work in because of this. For what all its faults, for whatever else it isn't, and it's certainly not perfect.
Yeah.
There is space here for people who want to create things.
That's right, man.
And what I've learned from you is, if you want to do that, that means sacrifice. That means, you know what? You worked all day. And do you want to get something else done? Or do you want to go sit on your butt for 6 hours? Choice is yours.
Yeah.
No one's going to come behind you. Like at work, I have like supervisors. We have people that will hold us accountable.
Right.
Off work, it's just me.
No,
and
it's
what
just you.
I've committed to, which is this with you, know? So I know I've talked a lot here, but I couldn't be happier that exists in my life. I would not be the person that I have grown into these past couple of years without that constant call from you to be the best version of yourself. And I tell you what, I would not respect that call if I didn't also see it operating in your life constantly. You don't ask me to do anything, or anybody, any of these guys, it's not just me.
No.
And you don't ask anybody around you to do anything that you aren't doing.
Yep.
And I respect that completely. That's leadership. And that's what I've learned.
And the whole reason I even brought any of that up was because, we're talking about how spring, has come and it's changing all these different things, right? Mm-hmm. And, I just want to let people know that, it's springtime. It's early in the year. You just kind of, in many ways, people are just kind of like getting their momentum now to start, really getting some stuff done, right? And even if you haven't started working on your goals or whatever it may be, whether it's, staying sober or, attaining a higher level of fitness or, general health. I just went for a full workup the other day at the, hospital.
Yeah.
I'm in great shape, and I feel so grateful for that. You know? I mean, that's not why it's not necessarily why I do it so I can get that good report card, but it's great to know that all these things that I'm doing to try and stay healthy
are working,
Yeah. So even if you haven't started or if you're, on a journey to, achieve something, right? It's always easier to do it with people.
Mm-hmm.
And there's people around you that are willing to help. I've encountered a few people recently who are, really up against some challenges.
Yeah.
And they have people around them and they can ask for help, yet they don't.
Yeah.
And it's not easy for many people. It's hard to ask for help.
Yeah, sure.
But it's worth it, and the best things are uncomfortable.
That's true.
Some of the best things, that'll come in your life, at first there's a level of discomfort, but once that passes, on the other side of that is, some better things.
Growth.
Growth.
Yeah.
Will Smith, has said this a couple of times. He says, what does he say? He says on the other side of fear is success.
That's true.
And so I'm dealing with some of that stuff. Financially, there's a lot of things that I have to get done to be able to, really grow, these ideas, that we're working on, and making them reality, right? This was the first step with the podcast.
Yeah.
We're really grateful that people are responding well.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
And we want to, continue to work on, on improving on everything that we're doing.
Yes.
So, long story short, whatever you're doing, do your best, do it with someone else, preferably get some help, get a mentor.
Yeah.
Get someone to, to be a Sherpa.
Yeah. And to poke you when you need poked.
Right? Absolutely. Get a bubble burster. Get an Adrian in your life. Cause that's literally,
Adrian is the great bubble burster. I'd be like, you know what? I think this is going to happen when this is like, really? Is that really what you think? Or is that just what you want to happen? And what are you doing to make it happen? I'm like, leave me alone with my dreams. And it's not that it's bad. It's kind of funny because, it's one thing to have a dream. It's another thing to make that dream a reality. There's lots of people with lots of great ideas. How many of them are putting one foot in front of the other?
Yeah.
To make it happen? Because how many people, when we talked about this podcast, even our friends, even the people who now support us, were kind of like, is that really going to happen?
Absolutely.
Is that really happen? You're going to do like 3, then you're going to get tired of it.
And I think that's why some people didn't take us seriously in the beginning because they're like, oh, okay, cool. That's cute. You're doing this for now.
Sure.
I don't think you're going to keep doing this. And it's because they don't see where this is going.
Yeah. And we know who we are and we know what we're going to do. And we know that it doesn't matter if it takes, this is number 10. We know we're going to be better at 20. We're going to be better at 100.
Yeah.
By number 200, we plan on having this on the map. We plan on being able to really reach people because we know that our mission is grounded in really good principles. We want to teach people how to live their best life. We want to motivate and empower.
Absolutely.
And that has to be successful. It's going to be successful.
Right. And that the reason why we're going to be successful is because of that. When people see that we're serious about that mission, they'll agree to partner with us. They'll want to join, forces with us, and we'll be able to really, affect some change,
Yeah, help people.
And so,
wait.
we've got some stuff coming up,
Yeah, and next week, I know our next episode, not really next week, I know we're going to be talking to a couple, we're going to be talking to a friend of ours. No, a couple of friends of ours.
We have a few friends that are coming on that have some really, really good stuff. Yeah.
And I love it when people are willing to drop those walls.
Yeah.
And to say, this is how I was. but this is how I am now. And this is how I got from where I was to where I am now. Because that's the hard part, especially if you don't know. And that's why I love what we do. I love it when people ask me that question, like, why is my brain telling me this strange thing? And I'm like, well, because you're like me. And let me help you because somebody helped me.
Right.
And you can do that in any walk of life with anything. If you've been through it, like with the cancer and everything, you're able to offer, sound advice or even just a shoulder, right, to prop somebody up when they
absolutely.
need it. And that's what it's about is, two helping one. Right?
Absolutely.
Two teaching one.
To teach one. Yeah, and we are, man. We've come across people that have actually said, listen, I was doing XYZ.
Yeah, that's the
and
best.
I thought about what I heard you say on the podcast, and it influenced my decision. And that right there, that's proof that it's working.
Yeah. And I want to remind
succeeding.
that we are succeeding. And I want to remind everybody too that it's not just us. Like, you can get a hold of us. You can be a part of this. You can be, there's a little section on our website that says, you want to be a part of this? Click here.
Yeah, absolutely. Send us an email. It's easy.
We always want to create community because we know that community is what provides people with the strong foundation to help them accomplish things.
Right.
Like, I can't accomplish anything without you, or not anything, but I can't accomplish what I want to accomplish in this arena without you. And I know I'm a critical part of what you're doing. And the people around us, our families, our support networks, like, nothing that we get done happens in isolation, I guess is my point, right?
Yes.
Those foundational networks are the linchpin, the launch pad, if you will.
Absolutely,
to accomplishing your dreams. And if you don't have one, hit us up.
Yeah, man.
That's what we do.
Absolutely. So in closing, grab someone's hand, help them. Or, if you need some help, don't be afraid to reach out, whatever it is you're going through. There's no time like the present, to forge forward, and get it done.
Yeah.
Participate in your own life,
Absolutely.
All right. So with that,
we're
going to bring this to an end.
Yeah, it's been a good one.
Yeah, it's been a great one. Again, if you want to listen to our past episodes, this is number 10 that we're recording right now. We have 9 before this, obviously, because this is number 10.
Yeah, that's usually how it works.
All kinds of different topics. The most recent one was talking about women and men in the gym. What are the rules of engagement, interaction, some of the challenges that as men we just, had no idea. Women were facing, in the gym or in fitness in general. Doesn't mean that you have to be in the gym. Whatever that looks like. If you'd like to catch up with us, send us an email. You have some suggestions, or you just want to reach out and, tell us your story, or you want to get involved in, doing some podcasts.
Yeah.
Feel free to contact us at www.2teachone.com. That's www.2teachone.com.
To teach one.
You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at TWOTEACHONE. And wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find us at To Teach One, and that is spelled the number 2 TACHONE.
To teach one.
Or just Google us. You can find
I love it. Yeah,
you'll be able to find us there.
Bam, number 1 on the Google list right now.
yes, we are.
I'm like super happy about that.
So just type in To Teach One again. That's 2 TACHONE.
Bam. Yeah. So I think with that, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to say thank you so much to Adrian for having the idea for this podcast and for generating the leadership. And you guys just don't know all the work that he does behind the scenes. And it's really fantastic. And I'm just so proud to be a part of this. And thank you so much for everyone who has listened and chimed in. And, let us know where you want to go, because, you need people to be around you, and we want you to be a part of this as much as we are. So my name is Aaron, and it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, my name's Adrian. Remember, everything that we speak on here is just our own experience. We're not in any way really giving any kind of medical advice or anything like that. This is meant for entertainment purposes, but if you learn something, we're very, very happy, to facilitate that. You can definitely reach us, again, like Aaron said, if you really want some help, hit me up. Please do.
Yeah.
Hit us up on the website, www.2teachone.com. My name's Adrian. This was 2teachone. And until next time, peace.